Hey, for lifers, how's it going? Sorry, I'm a little late. Getting back from about 4 hours of driving today, all around trying to get some stuff off of Facebook and for my son and for myself. But we're here in a prototype preview. This is our long-awaited last member of the Ocular Max Protectobot. This is their Ventus, aka their blades. This is a prototype, so please just keep that in mind as we go through this review. All the things that we're going to be talking about today may change because this guy still has a few months left. This one definitely feels like a pre-production sample where it currently stands. While it looks mold-wise pretty good, there are still some tolerance issues and stuff like that that they need to tune up and get the paint and everything all done. Hey Titan, how's it going? Um, So once again, this is a prototype or pre-production sample, if you will. So there's going to be some things that may not work perfectly, and I didn't get instructions for this, and it took me literally several hours, and I'm talking about like 3 or 4 hours just to figure out how to do the alt mode correctly. I may still mess things up along the way, some order of things. So today we're only going to go through robot to alt and to combine mode. We're not going to go to reverse. I'll probably just save that for the full-on review once I get the retail copy. But as you can see, this is Blades. He doesn't have his blue face, but he is mostly done. And you can see he does have quite a bit of a backpack. He has that low butt pack for the Blades. So this is actually accurate to the animation. He does have a bunch of cabs. That's pretty common for this line from Ocular Max, just because they have to find a way to put all that stuff somewhere, because it is an all-in-one combiner. If you guys didn't know, that means there's no parts forming whatsoever. It is all self-contained. The hands and the legs and the feet, the head, all of that stuff is combined within the robots themselves. No parts forming required. A couple of things. So he does come with a couple of guns here. There are a couple ways to use these. Right now, for alt mode, you're supposed to tab them into these sections here, but again, they're not fully toleranced yet. So you saw me actually use these ports on the side like so, which is for alt mode, I think. But you're supposed to use this tab and the slot back here to get the actual authentic look. But like I said, it's a little too loose right now for that. So a little bit of tolerancing that they're going to have to do. It does transform. It really just bends and then it plugs into the side of the vehicle or combined mode. He does also come with, I think, some extra heads. A slightly different sculpt, as you can see here, in terms of the crest itself, as well as these kind of side pieces here. He has that kind of straight, regular face. And then he has, I think... I don't know if this is duplicate or not. No, so these are all, so the head sculpts are different. So I don't think you can even put all of the faces interchangeably between them all. I think there's certain faces that work with certain ones, but he has a total of 4 faces and 2 heads, I believe. Again, don't quote me on that just because this is a pre-production sample and they just throw in a bunch of stuff. And I actually got some accessories from figures that are not part of this guy. So I had to figure all that out. Real quick shout out. Hey, Solaris, Shirokuro, Shadowbird, Onslaught, Winston, Princeton, Titan, Anthony Brown, Lowell, Kamel, and I think that's it. All right, so let's keep going. He also comes with a gun, which has the back tab and for the palm, which I think actually works really quite well. It's a little bit easier and it's not as unsightly, I would say, as the tabs that come out to the side, but the handle does look a little boring in terms of detailing. The rest of the gun looks quite good. I actually don't know if this, yeah, I think it's kind of weird that it has the little aiming thing at the bottom here. That's weird. This gun almost looks like it's upside down. It feels like it should be this way. Huh. Never realized that. Anyway, I'm just going off on a tangent here. So let's taking a look at Blades. I think he looks really quite nice. Again, he feels honestly right now a little bit cheap just because of some of the tolerances, some of the areas that he has. I joked about with this guy, which I reviewed the other day, his hips being super squeaky and just not having the refinement that we expect from like the higher tier third-party companies. But if you And I will recommend that you use the spudger for this guy, at least on this sample. It will definitely behoove you to do so. But you can see he also has squeakiness, which again is evidence for the fact that it's still a pre-production sample with some final tolerances that need to be done. Let's see. Let's just go into articulation first. So his head has a neck panel, which you can see can go up, and then his head itself is on a ball peg. As a flying bot, I do appreciate that they gave him a little bit more articulation with the neck panel, but it would have been nice if he could look straight forward. Unfortunately, he cannot. He can look straight, but he gets no down because of his chin. Maybe if one of the other chins he can. But again, as a ball peg, he can do 360 and some head bobbles as usual. He does have butterfly joints, which are softly ratcheted, which are pretty nice to have. So you can go see how far he comes forward. Oops. His chest wasn't fully tabbed in. My mistake. His shoulders rotate around on a friction joint, come out to the side on a friction joint. You can go out. You can do like the pec deck thing. He has ratcheted elbows, a single jointed elbow, but he can get quite a bit, well more than the 90 degrees. He has a wrist swivel. He has the standard Ocular Max hands with the ball peg thumb, and I think all four of the fingers are individually articulated, but they're only pinned. Oh, actually, maybe, yeah, I thought so. But they're all pinned at the base, no other points of articulation, which is a bit of a bummer. Hey, Clinical, how's it going? What else to say? Oh, he has a bicep swivel, which I didn't show. And then he actually has this arm armature, which is really used for articulation. It can also move in a little different ways. I actually still haven't figured out fully how to perfectly transform this without like running into issues, but that is what it is. He does have an ab crunch, which is quite far. You can see just how far it goes. It does break up the sculpt on the back here a bit. He does have 360 waist swivel, which is also, I think, friction, or it might be softly ratcheted. It's hard to tell, to be perfectly honest with this one. I can't tell if it's just friction or, or ratcheted. In any case, he also has hip skirts that can move to the front, out to the side. And then this one is actually a whole panel that you can flip up and has some other articulation. So it allows you to get a little bit of movement to go forward, about that far, about 90 degrees. Backwards, I guess if you untab this, you can go 90 degrees. You can go out to the side. It looks like it's ratcheted, and I don't know if that's going to be in the final design. But right now it's friction. So again, I don't know. What else does he have here? Let's just tab all these pieces back. He does have a thigh cut for swivel here. He has a 90 degree or close to 90 degree knee bend. He has ankle tilts or rockers, and then he has separate heel and toe. The heel doesn't go up really. It does go down, and the toe can go down. Not really up that much, but you can use this second joint a little bit to get a little bit separate down. It also extends and contracts, but that's really for transformation. And sorry, this peg came undone. That's supposed to stay in there like so. I think that's it for articulation. I pulled up his backpack just so you can see, but we'll pull that down. His blades or helicopter propellers, or not propellers, what are they called? Rotors? Anyway, the helicopter fly thingies, we'll just call it that for the scientific term. They do tab into place here. They kind of over-under hook. All right. So I think that's it as far as, I think the blasters again can, I thought there might be another place for this, but I think I might be hallucinating. I thought there was a front end configuration, but maybe not. So yeah, that is it for his robot mode. Let's just do some comparisons. Just because I have them and I showed them earlier. This is that Metal Souls Tiger. Who else do we have? We have the Ocular Max Drift. We have, of course, Springer for Anthony Brown, one of my regulars. Don't even bother donating. You've donated so many times. You definitely don't need to continue doing that. Let's see. Here he is with a Fans Toys figure. Who else do we have? Always got to get him next to an MP44. Oh, sorry. Let me scooch this up a bit. And then also next to the con exclusive rotor. So another all-in-one combiner that is a helicopter. So hopefully that gives you a good idea in terms of how he might fit into your collection, how he will look. All right, let me clear some of these guys out of the way, and then we'll continue on with the review. As I mentioned today, we're not going to go through. We're going to go through all modes, but we're not going to go both directions, just because, again, this is just my best guess at the transformation at this point. But thanks, Princeton. I appreciate it. Thanks for the fist pump handshake. Got some Uso handshake going on there. All right, so we are going to go through all three modes. Again, this might not be the best or correct way. I found out when I just got the manual for the drift that there are way easier ways to do some things that for the official manual and the official review I'll show off. It'll probably be the same case here. Hey, Parts Former. Sorting pills into my pill caddy. You're old. Charlie C thought he would be the same size as Rotor. I think that's one of the cool things that they've done so far with the all-in-one. Even within a team, they've like sized them differently. Even though like two become a leg and stuff like that. I actually like the differences in height. I think it gives a little bit more versatility and realism to the fact that not all bots need to be the same size just because they're both limbs. In any case, I digress. So let's get into transformation again. If I get some of this wrong, I'll correct that in the official video manual that we'll post on the MMC site, as well as in my official review. All right. I always forget what I do first. I feel like I always do the upper body first. So I was actually going to do this review yesterday, but things came up and I wasn't able to do it. So we want to unhook these from what will be the front of the helicopter mode. When you come down here, you don't want to completely straighten them out because then you're not going to be able to turn these all the way, I don't think. So you want to have these unclipped a bit, and that way you can bring both halves together, and then you can lock them in place by straightening these blades, like so. You are going to want to, so this was pegged in. Oh, no, it wasn't, sorry. No, I'm thinking about the combined mode. So we want to lift this up. It was down like this. We want to untab it, get it up like this. We're going to leave it up kind of for here, kind of floating for now. You're going to want to unfold the backpack, bring this down, bring these two halves together, straighten this out, and then you can peg this in now or do it later. If you want to do it now, then it'll give you a little bit of security, but we're going to still mess with this a little bit later. All right, for the upper body, let's start with the arms. And again, I don't know the perfect way to do this yet. It's still a little confusing to me, but let's try our best. So we're going to open this up, and the hands don't go in the way that you normally would think. They actually go in like backwards, like this. Oh, do I have it right? Oh, like this. And the thumb sticks out like that. Or I guess you could theoretically put a bit backwards. But I think you have to put it out kind of like this. Like so. And then you're going to have to start dealing with these arms. So you want to pull this around. This will unfurl. I think this rotates separately afterwards like that. You want to rotate this separately to go to the front like so. And then you want to get the wheels or the skids, whatever you want to call them, out to the side and angle them like so. So you can see there's a stopper here. So you kind of want to have it in this kind of orientation. The arms will rotate around because these are going to tab into the side, but not quite yet. So let's do the same thing on this side. Open up the arm panel here. Get the fist in with the thumb kind of pointing out like that. We're going to rotate the arms up. We're going to flip this around. We're going to bring this down and then rotate just this side up like so. And that actually went smoother than I think I've ever done it. So maybe just the pressure of being on screen. It's usually the opposite. So swing out the landing gear kind of thing, skids, like so. And you kind of want it in this sort of orientation, but you'll see that things are going to move quite a bit. Excuse me. So this is where things get kind of crazy. So this took me a really long time to figure out. Oh, actually, we have to rotate the head backwards. So this took me a really long time to figure out because I was like, this chest looks like it's supposed to open, but I didn't know how that would work because these pins are here, and I'm like, how did this work? But that's actually what you're supposed to do. So these clips here actually clip onto the pins, which is nuts. So if you just release them like that and bring this up, these clips go on here. And what these will do is that now you can rotate on that butterfly joint on the arms, and you will slide that down as a telescoping joint to get into correct position. But let me show that off a little bit later. Let me finish off the transformation here. You want to fold these pieces perpendicular and then fold these down. Yeah, these clips are just so crazy. I never thought that they would do that. I don't honestly know if I'm a fan of that. I just am curious about the longevity of it just because they're kind of small C clips and they go onto the pins here. But yeah, it's just kind of a little bit crazy. It actually doesn't feel bad at all. It felt really secure, but again, I just am not sure. I've never ever seen a transformer use clips onto pins like that. If there are some that you know of that have done that before, let me know in the comment section because I've just never seen that. Anyway, so we're gonna flip this all the way up. Coming up here, you want to untab this section. We're gonna bring this kind of down, and this comes like around like so. You do want to make sure that this piece here is vertical, so you want to push that back as far as you can, but we have some other things that we have to take care of, so give me a second here. Again, this part is not painted yet, as you can see, like so. That should be correct, like that. And you can see how this is all coming together now, and this will slide up, and this will become the front of the helicopter. All right, so coming back to the mid-body, we want to slide this piece down. We're going to fold this piece down, but I actually like keeping it up. I don't know if it's just easier for me, but I also want to show you this because it's easier to show if I have this up. There's also a sliding joint on this whole upper body. So right here, you'll see a pin. There's a sliding joint. So you want to slide the entire like lower half essentially forward. And then once you get these arms down on these telescoping pins, you're going to fold these in, and then you'll have this tab go into this middle section here on both sides. So it really should be something more like this in terms of orientation, but you run into here, so you can't easily do that. So when we fold this in, again, making sure it's all the way down, we're going to fold this in, and the first thing we want to do is secure this tab into here, like so. Then we can start messing with the other side pieces. This part will kind of collapse in, form the side here. These are all going to tab in. Let me get the other arm in place before I do cleanup on that. So again, slide this down. Get this tab into the body. I like supporting the red piece from the back to control it and get both of the sides in. That looks like we should be good there. These arms, two halves will tab together. There's a tab here that will go into the side, and then, oh, that's where this was. I was like, where did this piece, I saw a piece fall off from this and I didn't know where it was, and now I found it. So let me peg that back in. Yeah, okay. So again, get this tab into the side here. This will tab, the front will tab forward into the arms or back into the arms, and these will all tab in together. And if you clean it up right, this should be all smooth all along here. All right, and now we can go ahead and fold this down. I find that that's easier to do afterwards. All right, this is the part that took me forever, and I just don't remember. So I might have to do a little bit of messing around with this because it's really confusing because there's a lot of moving pieces here. But let's start with the legs first. So the legs, we're going to go ahead and point the toes, collapse it down. We're going to point the heel down and rotate this piece like so. So they're both kind of pointing this way. Coming to the inner leg, you want to pull back. You can see there's a small peg here. That will allow you to clear this all the way through, like so. That toe piece and that heel piece will slot right into place, like that. You're going to straighten out this piece, and then there's a little tab here that you unfold to lock this in place so it doesn't bend out. We're going to straighten this, unfurl this, get this off to the side, and then we want to split the vertical stabilizer or whatever, like so. So it's off to the side. So that's one half done. Just make sure the fingers are all curled up and everything like that, like so. Oh, okay. So we do want to rotate at the waist 180 so that we have this facing the correct orientation, I think. Yeah, I believe so. All right. So we'll figure it out if I messed up. So toes down, heels down, rotate so that they're both kind of pointing this way. Release the peg in the inner leg. Get this all straightened up. Slot these pieces into the side here. We're going to straighten this out. And once again, come to the inside of the leg to tab that in, lock that in. Now we have both legs. These two halves will come together. However, let's figure out this section first. So one of the things you have to do is you want to, hold on, let me make sure I did this right. So I believe you need to get, so the key part is this. So let me make sure I got this. So this should be facing this way. I know that. This tab goes like this, like so. And then I think this piece comes around like, no. So what we have to do is rotate the hip skirt and then rotate the waist. And so you'll have these two tabs here. And you want to get the front hip skirt to tab into those. Sorry about that. I know that was a little confusing. I apologize for that. But once you have that done, you want to lock these hip skirts up, the side hip skirts, into the main body, like that. And this is what took me so long to figure out because there are so many moving parts here. Did I wrote? Yeah. So this piece needs to come up like this. And these double hinges will come back down. And these sit like this. Almost looks kind of like a face and ears, like a alien or Mickey Mouse kind of thing. You need to have this in this specific orientation. So the hip skirt tabbed in here. The hip skirt fronts facing forward. And then this double hinge, you want to make sure that you rock it back and down so that these are basically all on the same plane here. This took me forever to figure out. All right, from here, he does have collapsing legs, so you squeeze, I think, on both sides to collapse the thighs down. All right. Now we can get both halves of these lower body sections tabbed together. And again, this does something way different than I've seen before. So you're going to use the ab crunch to go rock all of this in 90 degrees, and that's why you had these kind of ear thingies in the right place. If you can see deep down in there, they have just enough clearance to sit there. And then the thighs actually curl up into the body of the helicopter, and this gap will be filled by the legs. So it's pretty crazy. It took me forever because I didn't know what was blocking getting these legs in. Like, I understood the concept of it, but it took me forever to figure that out. And I didn't have any help from the folks in China because it was a weekend and the engineers were, deservedly taking time off. Lastly, you just come back and tab all this in, and then you have Ventus or Blades in alt mode. So that is his alt mode. It looks really great. It does have wheels here, which I don't know is accurate, but it does allow him to roll around. His helicopter blades spin around quite nicely. His weapons can tab in using these revealing tabs back here. These are also too loosely toleranced right now. I'm sure that they'll tighten those up, but you peg those in after you curl this around. Again, I think they're probably missing a tab here that's supposed to hold this front section of the tail. There's a bit of a gap here, but again, excuse it. It's not a final release yet. So I feel like this is how it's supposed to go. Like that. You can also tab in the gun here. It's not the easiest thing to do because you do have to basically split a lot of this, like get some of this undone, and then you have to kind of split this in. I don't love doing this, to be perfectly honest. You just have to do a lot just to get this tabbed in, and then a lot of cleanup afterwards. But they always want to make sure that we have weapon storage, so there we go. I guess it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I probably made it sound way worse than it is. I already got it done, but like so. But yeah, so now he's all weaponed up. So he has all his weaponry in his alt mode. And it looks really great as far as alt modes go. It has a little thruster back here, both the vertical and horizontal stabilizers. There's going to be some paint on these sections here. I don't think they're supposed to be all black here. But yeah, no robot modes exposed or anything like that. So it looks quite nice, I would say. So I forgot to mention, but as always in my live streams, I have a Q&A going on, a live Q&A. So let me go look at some of the questions we have. So we got one from Shadowbird that says, "Where are you?" I'm in North America, in Virginia, Northern Virginia. Is it Scramble City? Can it become a leg and arm? No, it cannot, Tef. It's an all-in-one combiner. That means it would have to house, each limb would have to house at least 1 foot and 1 hand. And if you want a complete Scramble City, it would have to be all 4 feet and all 4 pieces, both hands and both feet. Or something like that, because again, and the combiner ports that would make that work. Are we looking at a Q1 2025 release? I think it's Q1, but it's probably going to be Q2, especially with Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. Gabriel asks, this is final version when you combine with Defensor, please change first aid with G1 Vortex or other 2 versions of Vortex. Sure, I think I can do that. Partsformer says, oh, he just put a little trophy there. Thank you for that. Not a question, so can't follow directions, but I appreciate the trophy. And Zekoid says, what color are the eyes going to be painted? I think they're supposed to be blue. Let me check. Sorry, I'm checking TFW on my computer right now because honestly, I'm not even sure. Oh, it doesn't even show. I think they're supposed to be blue though, and the face is going to be blue. Oh, Lazy Azza, he was a member of the Ocular Max MMC team. Hey, Lazy, I did see your question. I talked about it at the beginning. I don't know if you're here. Yeah, the pegs for this in robot mode do quote-unquote exist, but they don't work because it's just not tightly toleranced yet. So for the purposes of the thumbnail, I just use these ports back here, which are better tolerance, but then a little bit loose on these pieces. So yeah, you can also ask Lazy in the comment section if you have anything. I do have Groove. My Groove is still in the box, but I do have the sample Groove that I did a review on. So we will be bringing out Defensor and showing him in his completed form, albeit not with all finished copies. Like the Groove will be the pre-production copy, and then this will be a pre-production copy. All right, so I think I got all the questions. Parts Former gave me a middle finger emoji for making fun of the fact that he can't follow directions. Once again, not a question, so still can't follow directions. All right, so let's get into combined mode. You can actually leave these on, I believe, and you can leave this on, so I'll just leave it on for now. You want to move these out to the side like this, I believe. All right, so what do we do first? So we want to get this up. We're going to kind of partly go back to robot mode. So we want to fold that up, and we'll do some of the propeller stuff in a slightly different way. We do want to bring all of the legs down and out, like so. Straighten this out, and I think the legs, they have actually two different configurations with the legs, and to be frank, I just don't remember both of them. For the arms, I just don't remember them clearly, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but there are two separate configurations or whatever's that you can do. So let's just deal with the hands first. So first thing we'll do is untab these locks here. We can fold in these pieces, fold this down, curl this up. This will tab in here. We're going to pull back on this section to release it from here. And then we're going to rotate this piece like so, and this piece like so, because now these pieces need to be not jutting out, but actually tucked in so that we can get the fist out. This will come back in as before. However, one small deviation is that you want to pull this tab up. This peg will still go back into that same location, but now this part won't be jutting out, and this part won't be jutting out, so that you can bring both halves of the arms together. These do tab in with here and sorry. Here and here on the tabbing. Sorry, it's a blind tab, so it's kind of hard to, obviously not easy to see. Come on. Why aren't you tabbing in? Okay, sorry about that. It seemed to not want to go in where it was supposed to go. So that's one half. We do have to bend the knee and flip this down as well. That will reveal the forward joint motion for the knee. So we had this one before in robot mode, but this one, it will be needed for the elbow bend, or at least one of the joints in the elbow bend. So same thing on the other side here. You can fold this down, unlock this tab here, curl this up. And we're going to pull out on this section. We do want to flip this piece up. Remember to extend, fold flat on that, and then curl this around like so. We're going to curl this around, bring this in. This peg will go into this small hole here. And this will fold in half in order for it to tab into the correct location. One thing that I think is missing as well, I think it's right here, is that while it does have two halves of the wrist to tab in, it doesn't have one that it traditionally does. So I think this is supposed to be a tab and a slot here. Again, not final, so that's probably why. You do want to collapse the hips, the thighs. That is also one mechanism I hope they improve. It feels a little loose. And I honestly don't remember exactly how this is supposed to look. Give me a second. Because there's two different orientations for the arm, like I said. And I'm trying to remember how this goes. These are folded up like this. And this is supposed to fold like that, I think. It's supposed to come up. Oh, but we do need to bring these hip skirts down from inside the body. And I think this is going to form the elbow like this. I'm just trying to remember. Oh. Is this supposed to fold backwards? I don't think so. I think we're good here. So yeah, I think this is one of the orientations that they have. Something like this. So these two halves are supposed to, these two hip skirts are supposed to kind of form a more continuous piece there. And the locking mechanism for the leg. So there's no seeming lock at the top right now. I hope that's what they add. There's a lock at the bottom, but I'd like to have one at the top. But with that done, you can combine both halves of the arm together. Oh, this part folded down. That was not supposed to happen. These two halves come together. These two halves come together. These tab in like so. So you can see how the elbow works. This will unpeg here. This will fold down and in here. We do need to kind of untransform the front end, which I don't really like. I mean, I know it's accurate, but let's do the blades first. So we want to bend these, and then we want to fold them both so that they're in the same orientation like this. We want to tab it like this, and then this actually tabs into one of these tabs here. You can't do it like this, like I would normally like, because I think it's a little bit cleaner looking than having the weird opening here. But we're going to do it the official way to make it look just like the cartoon. While we are here, let's go with the combiner tab. This whole section does come out, but you do want to flip this up, and this little red section here, you need to fold that down 90 degrees, which is really tight. And then you have the combiner port. This is the way it's supposed to be. All right, and then where are we? Oh, and so, yeah, we have to deal with the upper front section here. We have to remove all of this and like arch it back kind of in the same way first aid does. So we want to kind of untab this. We do want to untab. There's a tab going in this way, which is a little bit hard to get to. So again, I recommend if you have one to utilize a spudger. Easier said than done. There we go. Like that. I should start it up here this time. Like that. All right, so this is supposed to arch back, and this is supposed to tab in here. And again, not fully tabbed in. I'm not sure exactly how this is supposed to be positioned because there's no tabs that I found, but basically like this. This is supposed to be in this orientation. And that is Ventus or Blades in his, oops, didn't get his thumb out, in his combiner mode. So yeah, this is his combined arm mode. Articulation wise, we'll show that off on the shoulder joint later, but it has the same kind of tabs here. He does have elbow or bicep swivel here. He does have two joints for an elbow. So he has this new one that we revealed here, the lower joint, which goes 90 degrees. But if you move some of this other stuff out of the way, like making use of this section here, you can get the upper elbow as well. You can get a little bit more than this, honestly. And again, depending on how you orient these hip skirts, if you move these to the back side, you actually will get a little bit more because you can move this hip skirt towards the back here and get a little bit more. But he already has more than a lot of even non-combiners in terms of elbow joints. There's still so many figures that have only 90-degree elbow joints, and this one already has more. The wrist is two halves, and it can swivel partially, so it can go that far in terms of inward rotation, and then outward rotation it can go that far. So quite far. These hands are not super well toleranced yet, but again, they're the similar hands to what we got with Bruticus. So he has a swivel here at the base. He has a ball peg at the base of the thumb, and then he has two pin joints for the thumb. So you can rock around like this and rotate around. All individual fingers. He has 1, 2 pin joints, and a third one, 3 pin joints for each fingers, and they can splay out as well. This is not supposed to happen. Again, I think they haven't done the final tooling on the tabs for the hands, but I imagine that's what's going to happen there. And you can see the similar type of tabbing situation that we had with Bruticus. I don't remember what his weapon looks like, to be perfectly honest. So we'll see what that is. Did I miss any articulation? But again, his bicep swivel can go 360. Is there anything else? All right, so he can also, again, we could have left these on this entire time. It's just a little bit easier, but these are supposed to go in his forearms. And let's bring out his teammates. Hold on, let me scooch up my... that's probably a little too far. All right. So it works in the same mechanism as their Bruticus. I just don't remember what orientation. So it might be this way, it might be the other way. But we do want to open the lock here. Which way is it? This way or this way? There we go. And is it this way to get it in? No, I think it's upside down. I think I had to go the other way. Yeah, I think that's right. I feel like that's not all the way in. This should go in pretty far. Am I doing it the wrong way? Well, either way, you get the idea. Tabs in like this. It's locked in. I don't know if that's completely right because it looks like it's sticking out too much. But he does have ratcheted shoulders as usual. He has shoulders in hotspot, but then he also has a couple of little points of articulation here as well. So this is finally a completed Ocular Max Defensor with all his correct limbs in the correct orientation. Again, it's not Scramble City. Sorry, he's kind of positioned weird, but you get the idea. It's nice to actually have him finalized in terms of having all of the different figures. Your one-armed Defensor is jealous. Well, you can always buy a second first aid or use Vortex or something like that. I forget if Vortex is the right arm or not, though. But yeah, at least the arms can be swappable with their Bruticus arms. So this is where we're going to end the review in terms of transformation, stuff like that. We're not going to go into any more. We're not going to go backwards again, just because I don't even know if I have it correct at this point. I think I do. I'm like at least 95% of the way there, I think. But yeah, I'm glad that we finally will have our last member of this group, and it didn't take a billion years to get it done. Fans Toys. Let me look and see what other questions we have. No other questions. So I guess that was easy. I know I always ignore the chat when I'm doing live streams, but as you can imagine, there was a lot to get done in front of the camera. So let's see. Oh, he does have palm articulation. I'm sorry about that. So he can open up like that. Yeah. So he can go backwards. Totally forgot about that one. Good catch there. What else do we have? Teammates, I was sad that there was no blood. Hey, Adrian Lee. Transformers 360, Transfans Toys 365. UC Wall, I know. Is there a way to fill the hole in the middle? So I think, again, the way it's supposed to be done is supposed to be kind of blocking that with this. But if you mean the middle here, I don't think there's perfect gap fillage everywhere. So you're probably going to have a little bit of see-through on that. I feel like there's something wrong with this. I feel like I even did this previously. at like at TFCon. I feel like this might supposed to go down more, maybe. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. I don't know. Again, I don't know. That's my best guess. It took several hours for me to get it even this far. So hopefully you guys appreciate it. I don't have any other questions in the chat. So unless you guys have anything else that you want to ask, I'll just go look into the live chat now. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, want to see, let me know. Otherwise, we can end this pretty early. I'm actually surprised it only took 45 minutes to get it into these 3 modes. Overall, I am happy with Ventus / Blades. He has some, again, really interesting stuff going on with some of the transformations. Pretty ingenious stuff, as usual, from the designers of the team. But I don't know that if I were to rank him as far as if he's one of my favorites, I still think I like First Aid the best. Oh no, actually I like Hotspot the best, then First Aid, and then maybe Blades and Groove coming up in third-ish. But that's probably how I would rank them in terms of my favorites, but your opinions may differ. And again, it's me judging this based off of this pre-production sample, which obviously could change quite a bit in the next half year or so. All right, what other questions do we have? Mike Boyle says, look awesome. Asked the same question twice, my bad. That says Adrian Lee. We appreciate you, of course. Thanks, T-Man. If you do appreciate me, throw a like, share, subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, that'd be great. Let's see. Are the white guns supposed to stick out that far? Yeah, they're supposed to, I guess. I don't know how accurate that is to the actual cartoon or design. Transfan Story says, thanks, Pegs. Looks pretty good, but better with paint and finish, I'm sure. Yeah, just like those, you can kind of see how it does. These two do feel like they stick out a bit because they're not. These are both non-finished. But we'll see how that goes. I know some people don't like the fact that they don't use translucent pieces sometimes, but so they do actually have translucent pieces here and here. Well, this one might be paint, but this one's translucent. So I know some people complained about the mismatch between translucent and paint here, but it's actually much harder to tell with these 2 different windows here. Adrian Lee says, also, has MMC said anything about Devastator? I know somebody was saying that Sam on the team met with Bobby Skullface. They have a podcast, and they were talking about some of the crazy stuff that they're doing with Devastator. I'm wondering if there's any kind of crazy stuff like they did with this one, with the pins and the clips, the C clips that go onto that. But it seems like with every figure they do something kind of crazy that I've never seen before. So I'm looking forward to that. That's probably like the thing that I really like about this line is just the engineering and ingenuity of the transformations. And thankfully they haven't been super difficult. Like this one was only difficult because I had 0 instructions, but you guys probably saw me do it and were probably like, oh, this isn't bad at all. But trying to figure it out blind was maddening. Thanks, T-Man. He says, I always click like immediately. Release date for it, ask Jason Chancerius. It should be, if not late first quarter of next year, or sometime in the second quarter. Crispy says MMC has to do Stunticons next. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get Devastator first, and then we can do the Stunticons potentially. Oh, the IDW Fort Max. I know. I'm glad that they're reviving it, zombifying it, bringing it back from the dead. I just don't know exactly when. Lazy Azza knows a lot more, and he actually cares enough to like ask Boss Penguin about some stuff. I just realized my camera has been tilted this activate you. So you might ask him. I know he was at least in the chat for a little while. He has a much better idea of things like that. I honestly, I don't take advantage of the fact that I do work for MMC. I don't ask a lot of questions, to be perfectly frank. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, Lazy As is still there. Lazy As said the origin for IDW Fort Max is that he asked Rick if he wanted to design IDW Fort Max, and then he just did. Isn't that nice? I've been asking for a IDW Drift, not the one that we got, like the one that he sported for most of the comic, IDW More Than Meets the Eyes. I asked for that like for years, and now they're like, it's too late. That ship has sailed. So that they have a. Now we have the initial D one, AE86 one coming out. All right. I don't think we have anything else. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the review. I enjoyed it. Again, it was definitely super frustrating to get it figured out, but it felt like an accomplishment. You know, when you work on something for so long, and when you finally get it done, I do feel like a sense of victory in this. With that said, that's all for today, everyone. Sorry for the change in time. I had to drive around and get some stuff from all across DC, Virginia, even head into Maryland for a little bit. So I drove like 4.5 to 5 hours today, right after work, to try to get some stuff for my son and myself. So thanks, everyone. I hope to see you guys again soon. I will be off from work for the last like 2 weeks ish of the year, so I'm gonna try to do a bunch of reviews to round out, and live streams at the end of the year, like I usually do. We'll do an end of the year stream or something like that. Maybe finally do another Chatterday / Jeopardy or something like that. But who knows? That said, hope you guys have a great evening. Thanks a lot for lifers. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.